this video I want to dedicate to all of you guys that are out there protesting in regards to George Floyd and most recently Rayshard Brooks' death by law enforcement abusing their authority. This video I want to dedicate to all of you that's out there protesting for social justice. I know that between COVID-19 with the civil unrest in regards to race relations, I feel like it only makes sense that I would have a video dedicated to you guys. I also want to use this video as an opportunity to answer a lot of questions that I received from a lot of individuals that are thinking about getting into real estate. So I figured that this would be a good time, right? Because of the fact that you have all these uncertainties that's going on, and I know that maybe you were thinking about entering into a career in real estate, and you know, with COVID changing the landscape of how we're interacting, and with the civil unrest, right, due to race relations, should you still pursue real estate? So today, that's what I want to address. And again, I dedicate this to Black Lives Matter. Say their names. I truly appreciate you guys that are on the front lines, risking everything in order to make not only my life better, but people that look like me better. So I thank you guys in advance. I truly appreciate it. And this video is for you. This would be a great time for me to give you guys some value. So just to show my appreciation for you guys that are out there helping out Black Lives Matter. So these are some of the questions that I always get in regards to entering real estate. And I guess the first thing I should say is that a lot of times people have a misconception about real estate, thinking that it's similar to $1 Million Listing, you know. Now, I got to meet Frederick and Ryan and those guys, and I'm almost sure they will be the first to tell you that in the beginning is not as glamorous. Remember, those shows, they cut away to a lot of the friction that goes on between clients and the agents. You know, of course, the show is going to mostly emphasize the friction between agents, but for the most part, you know, we get along with each other. It's the clients, on the other hand, because again, this is a people's business. So I guess the first thing that I would say is that if you're not a person that like people, then yeah, you probably don't want to get into real estate. The great thing about real estate is that there's so many things that you can do. You don't have to deal with clients. You could be an investor. You could work in property management where you're just working with tenants or maybe the maintenance crew. You could do commercial, which is very business oriented. It's all about the numbers. A commercial client could care less about amenities and if something has, you know, marble Calcutta countertops. Their concern is the bottom dollar. So just remember that even though you're not a people person, there's still room for you in the real estate industry. There's still other areas where you won't have as much interaction. And then the next thing I would say is, are you a hustler? Are you a hustler? Are you the type of person that's, you know, willing to do whatever you need to do legally in order to be successful? Again, all the top agents, they worked hard at it. And most important, I would say, is having patience. So if you're with a firm that's giving you direction, that's supporting you, and you have the patience, I just can't see why you would not be successful. So let me start with some of these other questions. So one of the first one is, of course, is now a good time to get a real estate license? And I'm gonna say it depends. So it depends on your schedule. If you know that whatever career that you had pre-COVID is still gonna exist, if you wanna get into real estate part-time, it's okay to test the waters. I'm a firm believer that it's okay. Now, when I first got into real estate, in 2007, you really couldn't test the waters because things were just so crazy. I'm not saying that things are not cray now, but if you have a stable job and you have a stable income, not everybody can perform at their best if they still have to worry about paying bills. So to me, it's about timing. It's about timing. You can always do real estate. If real estate is your desire and it's something that you've always wanted to do, real estate is not going nowhere. So now it just comes down to timing. Is it fitting your schedule and what you're doing and what your needs are? If you have the savings or you have the family support system, then yeah, jump on in. Obviously, you're gonna see quicker results the more time that you invest. I don't have to explain that to you, right? So the more time that you're spending in real estate, the quicker you're gonna see the results. But is it possible to still close deals part-time? Of course. I would say that most agents, even though they say they're full-time, I would say that half of their time is probably real estate, the other half, who knows? So it is possible. It's just all about time management and having a system. I think that having a system helps to keep you accountable, because one of the hardest things about being your own boss is motivating yourself to do the hard work. Because you're your own boss, a lot of times we're the worst employee, right? And I'm talking about myself in this as well. So that's the key, is that how disciplined are you? Can you stick with it? Can you return those calls? Can you do the research for that client that's looking for a place? I would say that finding a client and finding somebody to work with is the easiest part. The hard part is the follow-up. To want to keep in contact with the person. Most of us, we want to get that quick check, and if the person's not moving quick enough for us, we move on to the next person, and never go back to follow up. So I would say in our industry, probably one of the number one things that's our Achilles heel would be follow up. All right, so that's the reason why I said earlier that having a systems in place, including a follow-up system, you definitely see your progress a lot faster. Next question, should I join a large firm or small firm? Well, it all depends on you as a learner, right? So each and every one of us, we learn different ways, right? Some of us, you can just give us instructions, leave us alone, and we'll go out there, carry out the task. Some of us need that one-on-one attention, need somebody to take us by the hand, somebody to walk us step by step, and then maybe after 3-4 transactions, then you can leave us alone. So it all depends on what type of individual you are. With a small firm, because they're a small firm, obviously you'll be able to get more attention. But if you know what you're doing and you have experience under your belt, then yeah, join a large firm. I would even go further to say a lot of the larger firms agree with me in that they have teams. Even the large firms, now they're starting to have teams, because they realize that a firm that's really, really big, you're not able to really touch everybody. When I first got my license, I worked for a large firm, and a lot of times they don't know your name, right? Because they got hundreds, if not thousands of agents. Also, bear in mind that, you want to visit the office that you're thinking about working in. You want to check out the culture, because not all locations, even though it's under the same branding, right, the same name of the company, doesn't mean that all the offices are being run the same way. Pretty much whoever's the manager for that location is setting the atmosphere and tone. So some of you guys will be successful in very strict train environment. Some of you guys want a more relaxed approach. You still want to be able to have fun, but at the same time still learn. And then some of you guys want a very relaxed environment. So you have to, only you know the type of environment that you're able to learn. And that's the most important thing, is that you're able to retain the information and you understand how to execute what you've learned. Because I remember when I was in college, right, we used to have this terminology about, you can learn a lot, but it's in theory, right? And you can be very, very knowledgeable, but then because you're in school and it's theory, you get out in the real world and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, because now is practical. So you want to get to the point where you feel like you're learning something and you can implement it. And just to continue on this point, and I promise I'll move on to the next question. Don't be scared to fail. Do not be scared to fail. So what I mean is, even though you don't have all the answers, just try it. Just call up the client, go on that appointment, try to, even if you bomb on that appointment, that's the real learning experience. So you can't be scared to fail. I tell agents, I'm not worried about you failing, but I want you to make all your mistakes early. Make those mistakes early. So that way you can learn from them, and then you know what you need to do for the next time. So don't get, analysis paralysis where you're overthinking the whole thing. Just go out there, meet with the client. Yeah, you may say the wrong thing. As long as you're not putting your license or your broker's license in jeopardy, it is what it is. I've had appointments where I totally, it just went left. It was just totally terrible. And from that appointment, I said to myself, okay, I'm never going to say that again. I'm not going to do this again, and I know that I could have closed the deal, but I said or did something that shook the confidence in my client. So don't be scared to fail. The quicker you make that mistake, the quicker you learn, and then you start closing those deals. All right. Next one is, what do I need to do in order to be successful? Continue to keep learning. Continue to always look for knowledge. Don't just depend on your broker to give you all the answers, or even people in your office. If you want to work with buyers, figure out ways to market to buyers. You want to work with sellers, figure out ways. The great thing is you have the internet. You have the internet where all that information is there. When I got my license in 2007, nobody knew how to sell properties for the banks. And mostly everybody in my office was like, you're never going to be able to do that because you're brand new, you just got your license, you never had a seller, which is true. My first seller was Bank of America. That was my first seller, was Bank of America. So, but you can't listen to people. You still have to try. You still have to try. So if you don't have all the answers, you want to be successful, you're going to figure it out and you're going to find those answers. And then the last thing I see here is, it says NAR study shows 87% of agents leave after having their license for one to 5 years. Yeah. Because basically, we get a misconception, right, from TV or friends or people that we know that's in the industry, that because they're having success, that we're going to have success, right? Because you're like, I grew up with this person. I remember when, we used to go to parties together and they was eating goldfish and this and that, right? And you're like, oh, I can, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's not necessarily the case. So you just have to remember that not to compare yourself to anybody else. Don't worry about when you're interviewing, what the other agents are doing and this and that, because that's not you. What you're looking for when you go to whichever firm you choose is knowledge and training. Are you going to have that support? Are you going to get the knowledge, and are you going to have the support in order to be successful? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how much this person in the company is producing that person in the company, because that's not you. Either you can do less than them, or maybe you can do more than them. So the key is that you want to learn how they're, getting their clients, how they're closing. That's the most important thing, because the money will come as long as you're eager to learn. And the last thing I would say is, don't get, overconfident. Even when you close that deal, you should say to yourself, wow, I closed this deal, so that means I should be able to close 10 more. Close 10, oh, I should be able to close 20 more. Oh, I close 20, I should be able to close. Like, you should always set goals for yourself and not get to the point where you feel like you've made it and you don't need to learn anything else. Remember, this industry is constantly changing. COVID-19, a lot of agents didn't know how to transition to do virtual tours, right? Virtual tours has been out for more than 10 years. But even today, we're in 2020. A lot of agents, they have properties on the market. I had clients that would want to purchase. I'm like, can you just send over a video link? They're like, no, I don't have a video link. It's like, wow, really? So you're just, throwing away $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 check, right? All because you could not take the time to learn how to use your And here's the great thing. You can pretty much do everything on your cell phone today. You don't even need to buy another camera or anything else. And I kid you not, I'm shocked, especially being in New York City. I would just assume that with technology, most agents would not, be afraid. But that goes to show that you have to want to keep learning, because if you do, now you're going to be able to have an advantage over the next person. So last thing I'm going to say is, don't worry about your competition. Your competition is not worried about you. They don't know who you are, don't care who you are. Just worry about bettering yourself each and every day, learning something new, working harder, and getting a system in place. All right? If you guys have any other questions, you can leave it in a comment. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. Stay safe. Please be careful out there, and I'll see you guys in the next training. Take care. Thanks again for coming to our channel. We look forward to continuing to help you and guide you through your real estate book. We are currently doing a New York real estate sales book, but later on we will follow with California sales book, Florida sales book, as well as New Jersey sales book. So look forward to those videos. One of the other things that we want to also discuss in the channel is investment, because most real estate professionals out there, they never get to learn about investment at their firm. So we want to talk about foreclosures, what type of properties you should buy. So don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video so that you'll be notified when we drop those videos. We're trying to drop at least a minimum of 3 videos per week, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thank you.